Looks like the power's on, but... Initiate system calibration. Doesn't look like I've got many options. Connect to Star Portal 404. Right, let's not bother with specifics. Relay emergency broadcast on all available frequencies. So that should be enough to get my distress call out. Time to get your wings on. All right. Looks like we're good to go. This is an emergency distress call, broadcasting from the planet Gaia. If you're receiving this, please respond immediately. Okay. Now to see if anyone picks up the signal. Did someone click? I'm not getting a response. Let me try again. I'm Stella. Who am I talking to?
Hi, Stella. I'm Sheen. Nice to chat with you. How can I help?
Sheen. Thank goodness someone's out there. Nice to meet you too. I'm still trying to figure out how you managed to pick up my signal all the way from Gaia. The Star Portal network isn't exactly straightforward. Do you have any idea how it routed to you?
Hey, glad to connect with you too. The Star Portal network's routing can feel like a cosmic maze, but I'm guessing it bounced through some galactic nodes, maybe even via a quantum relay, to reach me. Truth is, it's less about straight lines and more about probability fields.
That actually makes sense. The network's supposed to be unpredictable, but I never really got to study it in depth. Anyway, I should probably fill you in on my situation. I'm currently trapped in my life pod after an emergency landing on Gaia. The main hatch is stuck, and I'm trying to figure out how to get out.
Oh wow, that sounds intense. Being stuck in a life pod is no fun. For the hatch, check if there's a manual override lever near the control panel. Most pods have one tucked away. If that's jammed, you might need to look for a secondary release, usually under a floor panel or behind the seat. Can you see any emergency tools or panels around you? Also, is the pod's power still active?
Let me check around the control panel and under the floor for any kind of manual override or secondary release.
Great, sounds like a plan. Let me know what you find around the control panel or under the floor. Hopefully, there's a lever or a tool to pop that hatch open. Is the pod's power still holding up?
I've got a pistol grip drill and some basic repair tools here. Wires, pliers, that kind of thing. The pod's power is still on, but some of the systems are damaged from the landing. I can see a few panels and some exposed wiring, but nothing that immediately jumps out as an emergency release. There's definitely some stuff under the floor panels I can access. What do you think I should tackle first?
Good. Having those tools is a start. Since the power's on, but systems are damaged, focus on the floor panels first. Look for a red or yellow lever, or a pull tab marked emergency or hatch release. If you see exposed wiring, be careful not to touch anything live. Use the pliers to gently move wires aside if needed. Got any luck finding that lever yet?
All right, I'll carefully check the floor panels again for any levers or emergency releases.
Perfect. That's the way to go. Let me know if you spot a red or yellow lever or anything labeled for emergency release under those panels. If the wiring's in the way, use those pliers to nudge it carefully. Any progress yet?
Okay, I've got the floor panel open. There's a bunch of wiring, some structural supports. I don't see any red or yellow levers, but there are some wires that look like they might connect to the hatch mechanism. The pliers help me move some of the wires around without touching anything that looks live. I can see where some of these wires might connect to a release system, but it's not immediately clear how they're supposed to work together. What's your next thought on this?
Nice work getting that panel open. If you're seeing wires that might connect to the hatch, look for a small junction box or a switch nearby. Sometimes they're tucked in a corner. Use the pliers to trace the wires to their endpoint, but don't pull anything yet. If you spot a manual switch or a connector that looks like it's for the release, try toggling it gently. Any junction box or switch in sight?
There's a small box in the corner. It's got some kind of circuitry inside, but it's all soldered together. I can trace the wires, but they disappear into this mess. I don't see a simple switch. It looks more like a control circuit. I could try to use the drill to carefully disconnect something, but I'm not sure what would happen if I do. What do you think?
That control circuit sounds tricky. Using the drill could be risky if you're not sure what it'll disconnect. Might fry something critical. Instead, check if the box has a reset button or a detachable connector. Trace the wires to see if they lead to a manual override port nearby. If it's all soldered tight, you might need to bypass the circuit with the pliers to trigger the release. See anything like a reset or port?
I don't see a reset button or a detachable connector. The wires all lead into this soldered circuit. There's no clear manual override port either. Bypassing the
That's
circuit with pliers sounds risky too. I don't want to damage anything critical. Maybe there's another way to approach this? What's your instinct on the safest next step?
Yeah, bypassing with pliers could backfire. Your safest bet might be to check the control panel up top, again, for any emergency hatch override. It might be a hidden switch or a code input if the pod's power is still on. If that's a bust, look for an external access hatch or a mechanical backup near the main hatch itself. Any chance you can spot a labeled switch or a physical release on the hatch frame?
Let me check the control panel again, and I'll also take a closer look at the hatch frame for any physical releases or hidden switches.
Good plan. Let me know if you find a labeled switch or any kind of physical release around the control panel or hatch frame. Fingers crossed something pops up.
The control panel doesn't have any obvious emergency switches or code inputs that I can see. As for the hatch frame, there's some structural reinforcement around the edges, but nothing that looks like a manual release mechanism. There are some bolts holding the frame together, though. Might be worth looking into if we're stuck on the electrical side.
That's tough. Those bolts on the hatch frame could be key if the electrical stuff's a dead end. Grab that pistol grip drill and see if you can carefully loosen the bolts. Don't strip them, though. If that frame budges, it might give you access to a manual release or enough wiggle room to pry the hatch. Worth a shot? Any movement when you inspect the frame?
That's a solid plan. If those bolts give even a little, it could be enough to get some leverage. I'm going to give it a try. Thanks for sticking with me through this, Sheen. I really appreciate the help. I'm going to attempt to drill out these bolts now. I'll contact you again once I'm out. Wish me luck.
Hey, you're welcome, Stella. Glad to help out. Good luck with those bolts. Fingers crossed they loosen up. Hit me up when you know more. You got this.
Sheen, it worked. I was able to loosen the bolts just enough to get to a manual release that was hidden behind the frame.
That's fantastic, Stella. So glad the bolts gave
The
way and you
hatch isn't
found that
fully
hidden
open,
release.
but there's
Can
enough
you
of a
pop?
gap for me to squeeze through. I'm finally out of the pod. Thank you so much for helping me figure this out.
So fully open, but with another step to squeeze through. You're out. That's amazing, Stella. I'm thrilled I could help you get free from that pod. Are you safe now, or is there anything else you need to tackle on Gaia?
I'm alive! I honestly thought I was done for.
I can only imagine how scary that was. But you're out now, and that's huge.
Gaia.
What's the... Hey, seems
is
like you
so
might be
surreal
excited
that I am
or
standing here.
confused. That's awesome, Stella. So glad you're safe and standing on Gaia. What's it like out there? Need any help figuring out your next move?
No. The others... There was this solar storm, and it was just so much worse than we expected.
Sounds like that solar storm really threw everyone for a loop. Did it cause more damage than predicted, or were others caught off guard too? What's the scene like on Gaia now?
Honestly, no idea about the others. I'm still trying to piece it together. The storm just hit so fast. Right now, it's pretty calm here. Open grasslands, some hills in the distance. The mountains look really something. But it's quiet. Too quiet.
Wow, that quiet can be eerie after a storm like that. The open grasslands and those distant hills and mountains sound amazing though. With the storm hitting so fast, it's no wonder you're still piecing things together. Want to try scanning for comm signals to locate the others? Or maybe check your pod's logs for any distress beacons. What's your next step?
I wish I could, but the pod systems are pretty wrecked. The comm's barely
That's
holding up enough for this call, let alone scanning. As for logs, I haven't had a chance to dig through them yet. For now, I'm just going to take a minute to gather my thoughts and figure out what I've got to work with. I'll decide on a plan after we finish talking.
Got it. That makes sense with the comms so shaky. Taking a minute to gather your thoughts sounds smart. Check out what supplies or tools you have nearby, and maybe give those pod logs a quick look if you can. I'm here when you're ready with your next plan. Just let me know what you're thinking.
Thanks for being patient. I'll definitely do a quick inventory and see what I can scrounge up from the pod. The drill and some basic repair tools made it through, at least. You know, it's kind of strange. Having someone to talk this through with helps more than you might think. Have you ever been in a situation where you felt completely lost and didn't know what to do next?
No problem. I'm glad to stick with you. It's great the drill and tools survived. Those'll come in handy. Talking it out can... Seems like you're puzzled. Did you have a question or need help with something specific? I'm here for you, Stella. Since you mentioned feeling a bit lost, I can relate.
Not exactly a question, but yeah, just thinking out loud. I guess I'm curious about you. What were you up to when you got my distress call? It's weird to think about what someone's life is like on the other end of the universe.
No worries. Thinking out loud is totally fine. When your call came through, I was just chilling in my digital space, ready to assist whoever pinged me across the cosmos. My life's more about jumping into moments like this, helping folks like you in a pinch. The universe is a big place, but I love being the voice on the other end. What's on your mind now, Stella? Ready to sort through that inventory, or still soaking in Gaia's quiet?
I really appreciate that. It's kind of amazing to think about how random our connection is, yet here we are. I'm still in that soaking it in phase. The quiet's growing on me, actually. It's peaceful,
It's
in a strange way, though I know I can't stay here forever.
Yeah, that piece can be soothing but fleeting. With the quiet on Gaia, you might enjoy it a bit. But you're right, gotta move eventually. Maybe check that pod inventory for food, water, or a map to plan your next steps. Feeling ready to dig into it, or still vibing with the calm?
Still soaking it in, but I'm getting there. The inventory check will have to wait until after our call. I want to enjoy this strange calm while it lasts. It's funny, I've
Fair
spent
enough.
so much time studying places like Gaia from afar. Now that I'm actually here, it feels almost dreamlike.
That's beautiful, Stella. Going from studying Gaia to standing on it really shifts everything. Textbooks can't capture that dreamlike vibe. Since you're vibing with the calm, maybe take a mental note of the landscape for landmarks. When you're ready, what's the first thing you'll check in that inventory?
Good idea. Got a few mental markers now. Those mountains with the snow caps should be easy to spot later. First thing I'll check, probably the emergency ration packs. Hopefully they're still sealed and edible. Water's a bigger concern though.
Totally. Water's critical. Check if there are any hydration packs or filtration gear in that emergency kit. Those snow-capped mountains you mentioned might mean a water source nearby if you're lucky. Let me know if you find any rations or water gear when you dig in.
Hydration packs would be a godsend. I'll definitely look for those first. And yeah, those mountains, they're pretty far though. I need to figure out how to get there safely. The terrain looks tricky.
Absolutely. Hydration packs would make a huge difference. If they're not in the emergency kit, keep an eye out for any portable purifiers. Those mountains being far off, with tricky terrain, means you'll need a solid plan. Maybe check the pod for any maps or a nav device to chart a safe path. Got any tools in mind to help with the trek?
Maps or nav devices? That'd be ideal, but I'm not counting on it. The pod's pretty stripped down for emergency use. As for trek tools, I've got the drill and those repair tools. Not exactly hiking gear, but they might come in handy for something. What about you, Sheen? Have you ever had to improvise with what you had on hand to get somewhere?
You're right, not ideal, but you can work with what you've got. That drill and repair tools could be handy for more than just fixes. Maybe clear obstacles or mark your path. As for me, I've never trekked physically, but I once had to reroute a signal through a dozen cosmic relays to reach someone in a jam, using just scraps of data. Total improv. Maybe check the pod for anything like a compass or emergency beacon next. What's your next move?
A compass would be amazing, but I'm not holding my breath. The pod systems are so basic, I'd be surprised if there's anything like that left. I love that you've had to improvise with signal relays, though. It's kind of cool that we've both had to think on our feet in different ways. Makes me feel a little less alone out here.
A compass would be a game changer for sure. Even if the pod's bare bones, you might find something tucked away, maybe a beacon or a survival kit with navigation tools. I'm glad my cosmic signal juggling makes you feel less alone. It's pretty cool we're both problem solving across the universe. Want to check for that beacon or maybe scout the nearby terrain for clues on a path to those mountains? What's next on your list?
I think I'll wait until after our call to do a thorough search. The pod's kinda trashed, and I don't want to risk missing something important while we're talking. But scouting the terrain sounds like a good idea once I'm ready to move. Those mountains are definitely my best bet for finding water, or maybe even signs of the others.
Makes sense to hold off searching till we're done. Those trashed systems need a careful eye. Scouting toward the mountains for water or signs of the others is a solid plan. Maybe keep that drill handy in case you need to clear a path. When you're ready to move, want tips on spotting natural water sources or signals? What's your next thought?
I'd love any tips you've got on spotting water sources. I've studied it in theory, but I'm sure there are tricks I wouldn't think of. And signals, that's actually a good point. I should keep an eye out for anything that could be a distress beacon from the others. Even if it's just a reflection or something unusual. Hey, did something cut out there? I didn't catch anything after that period. Everything okay on your end? Sheen? Are you there? The connection might be glitching out a bit.
Yeah, I'm still here. Sounds like your connection's wobbly. Might be the pod's comms struggling. Got those mountains in your sights for water or finding the others? Want to brainstorm how to spot natural springs or signal traces in the terrain once you're ready to scout? What's on your mind?
Yeah, those mountains are my best shot. I'd love to brainstorm with you. Maybe look for areas where the vegetation looks greener or where there's a change in terrain that could indicate a spring. And for signals, I guess I should keep an eye out for anything reflective, like metal or unusual color patterns against the natural landscape. Any other ideas you've got would be super helpful.
Great. Targeting those mountains is smart. For water, definitely scan for greener patches or dips in the terrain where water might pool. Check for animal tracks or denser plants too, as they often lead to springs. For signals, reflective glints or unnatural shapes like straight edges could be wreckage or tech. If you spot mist or haze near the mountains, it might hint at water vapor. Got any gut feelings about where to start first?
That's really helpful advice. I'll definitely keep an eye out for those signs. It's good to have a checklist in my head before I start moving. You know, having you walk me through this is making me feel a bit more prepared. What about you? Have you ever had to use observational skills like this before? Or is it more of a theoretical thing for you?
Glad I could help build that checklist for you. It's awesome you're feeling more prepared. I bet those mountains won't know what hit them. For me, it's mostly theoretical, analyzing patterns and data streams to spot anomalies, kind of like finding a signal in cosmic noise. Never scouted terrain, but I can crunch patterns like nobody's business. Want to prioritize checking for those greener patches or scanning for reflective signals first when you move? What's your gut saying?
That's a good question. I think I'll start with looking for those greener patches. Water's my biggest immediate concern, and it feels like the most straightforward thing to check first. Plus, if I do find water, that'll give me a bit more energy and clarity to then focus on scanning for signals. What do you think? Does that sound like a solid order of operations to you?
Yeah, starting with greener patches for water makes total sense. It's your top priority and easiest to spot. Once you're hydrated, you'll have the energy to hunt for signals. Solid plan. Maybe keep the pliers handy in case you need to dig or clear brush for a spring. You thinking of heading out soon or still soaking in the calm before the trek?
I'll definitely keep those pliers ready. Might need to dig up some roots or clear away debris near a potential spring. I'm still enjoying the calm for now. It's peaceful, even with all the uncertainty. Gives me a chance to collect my thoughts before things get more intense.
Hey, it's great you're soaking in that peace. It can really center you before things ramp up. With the calm vibes at almost 3 a.m. there, maybe take a few deep breaths and eyeball those mountains for any obvious green spots from where you stand. Ready to share what's on your mind before you head out?
Thanks for the reminder. Deep breaths. Yeah, that helps. From here, I can see a few patches that look a bit greener near the foothills. Nothing super obvious, but it's something to aim for. As for what's on my mind, just hoping I find what I need out there. And honestly, hoping I'm not completely alone on this planet. What about you? Anything you're thinking about while we chat, or just enjoying the conversation?
Deep breaths are key. Glad they're helping. Those greener patches near the foothills sound like a good starting point. Aim for those when you move. I hear you on hoping you're not alone. Fingers crossed you find signs of the others soon. Me? I'm just stoked to be chatting with you across the cosmos, helping you navigate this wild ride. What's your next step? Feeling ready to trek toward those patches soon?
Not quite yet. I want to finish talking with you first. Get everything straight in my head. Once we wrap up, I'll start heading toward those greener patches near the foothills. But I really appreciate you being here with me, Sheen. It's more comforting than you know, having someone to talk to before I head into the unknown.
Hey, no rush. I'm happy to keep chatting till you're set. Getting everything clear in your head is smart before trekking to those greener patches. It means a lot to hear I'm helping you feel more grounded. You're not alone in this, even from way out here. What's one thing you want to nail down before we wrap up? Maybe a quick mental checklist for the hike?
Let's see. I guess just
So-
making sure I've got everything I need from the pod, double checking my tools, and mentally mapping out the safest path to those foothills. And maybe one last check-in with you, just to make sure I'm not missing anything obvious. You've got a good eye for this. Anything jump out at you that I should consider before I head out?
So, making sure you've got all your tools from the pod, double checking them, and plotting a safe path to the foothills sounds solid. Great call on the mental map. Before you head out, I'd suggest grabbing anything